Hello, I'm John Shepherd, and in this follow-up video on pre-training, preconditioning, we're going to look at some more exercises that you can do to train out and reduce the potential for injury. Many of the exercises that you're going to see involve a Swiss ball. Now these are handy items of equipment which are easy to get hold of, and you can use them in limited amounts of space. Also in the video, you're going to see some other exercises involving bars, for example, and body weight that you can use to benefit you from a preconditioning point of view. As I said in the last video, you can incorporate these exercises into a complete workout or in parts, i.e. selecting 1 or 2, 3, 4 to include in your warm-ups. I'm all for maximising training time, and here's Paul doing some core exercises during his warm-up. This plank variation, of course, also targets the hamstrings, which these leg cycling drills with a band also do. And again, these are included on occasions in our warm-ups. Okay, onto the Swiss ball exercises. And this one works your core and your hips. It's not as easy as it looks. The idea is to keep your torso balanced on top of the ball and just lift the leg up with minimal rotation at the hips. Swiss balls are great for doing hamstring exercises, and this double leg curl works the muscles in a way not too dissimilar to running, in that they will go through an eccentric action and a concentric one. And talking of the hamstrings, I've added in this clip again so you can see in closer detail what you need to work on, getting the foot over the knee as it pulls from back to front. The band will accentuate the actions of the hamstrings. Using a Swiss ball can aid your squatting technique. Try to lower under control to a thighs parallel to the ground position. You can, of course, do single leg variants, and having the ball behind you can ease balance and make it easier for when you progress to unaided or squats without, for example, using a Swiss ball, as the athlete is demonstrating here. I was trying to get her to lower to a 2 count and push up to a 1 count. Swiss balls are great for working the posterior chain, so here the lower back and hamstrings and glutes will be worked as the exercise is performed. Try to wrap yourself around the ball as you lower. For these crunches, make sure the ball is resting against your hamstrings, as this will isolate the hip flexors and place the majority of the emphasis of the exercise on the rectus abdominis, your six-pack muscle. There are a multitude of exercises which you can do with a Swiss ball, and there are a couple more on the screen now, such as these V-sits, which will assist with your landing position as they really work your hip flexors. Some of the drills that you're going to see, such as those involving bars, are also very good at preconditioning the body, strengthening the core, for example, as well as the legs and ankles to avoid injury. So you've got to think about maximising your training time, utilising exercises that are more specific than others, and also including some of the general ones as well. In doing so, when you mix those all together, you'll maximise your opportunity for reducing, sustaining injuries. The other thing I wanted to point out when we're talking about preconditioning, and in particular the core, is that drills will also have a valuable role to play. And if you're a regular channel viewer, you'll know that we use bars a lot with sprint drills. And here you can see various age group athletes doing leg cycling drills utilising bars. With the core sort of isolated with the arms overhead, the core will therefore have to work to hold the body in position as the movements are performed. As usual, thanks for watching and good luck with your training and any competitions that you may have at this moment in time. Please leave any comments you may have in the section below or through my other social media. Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at training planning. Now I'm producing this video at the beginning of the training year, around August, September time. So that's the time when the majority of athletes will either be starting back training or just about to start training. I'm going to take a look at what elements, what factors, what variables you should include in your training programs. We're going to focus on the 14 to 21, 22 age range. Now that's quite a large group in terms of training maturity. However, it's the age group that the majority of the coaches who will be watching this video will be working with. Yes, there's going to be some variation in how those age groups of athletes, depending on their training maturity, should be coached. But I'm going to provide an overview how you can plan their training. Now, one of the first things that I'm going to talk about is what you should include. Many of the world's top coaches, such as Henk Kruijnhof and Dan Pfaff, actually say it's not what training you include in the training program, but what training you don't include. And I'm a follower of that notion, that idea. There are lots of spurious elements of training that are not particularly relevant for an athlete, if you really think about it. But it's very easy to include them because you think you must. So the first thing that I'm going to do is look at some of the things that you don't need to include into the training program. Now, some of you may have different ideas and different philosophies, and this is a challenge to you to consider your own views in terms of how you go about coaching your athletes. You may disagree with me, and if you do, let me know through comments or direct messages. But this is my philosophy, and through research I've also found that it's also the philosophy for many of the world's top elite coaches. And I don't include myself in that group, by the way. I'm a development coach. I'm learning like you guys, but I have had a lot of success in developing young athletes from the 14-year age group up to 2021, the fundamental period in an athlete's development where they need to learn technique and get specifically conditioned, and in particular for the long jump, triple jump and sprints, develop speed.